Singh. This evening on the show, we're going to take a look at a story that's been playing out through the day today. The inauguration of the Ram Mandir is, as we speak, just 27 days away. Now, the trust organizing the event has over the last few days reached out with invites to different political factions. This morning, the CPIM made it clear that they will not be attending in a statement that honestly resonates with the stand that the party has always taken. But it's a statement that has opened a Pandora box of sorts, as different comments made over time by opposition I and DI alliance members have now come into the focus. We'll take a look at them in just a second. It's a particularly peculiar day for the Congress, which had a saffron-soaked electoral campaign in Madhya Pradesh and now finds itself being questioned over its allies' statements. Tonight, on Hard Facts, we'll speak to members from each side of the spectrum to understand: has the Ram Mandir inauguration widened an already seemingly wide chasm in the opposition's ideologies? Or does the alliance's rebuttal that different voices make a spectrum stronger, does that hold merit? That's the show tonight.
ये फंक्शन हो रहा है एक स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड इवेंट के रूप में। प्रधानमंत्री मौजूद रहेंगे, मुख्यमंत्री यूपी के मौजूद रहेंगे। तो ऐसी परिस्थिति में वो स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड होने की जगह उसकी राजनीतिकरण जो हो रही है इस पूरी की पूरी इनॉग्रेशन के लिए, उससे हमारी ये आपत्तिजनक है। इसलिए हम वहाँ पे भाग नहीं लेंगे इस इनॉग्रेशन।
हमारी समझ में ये देश की संवैधानिक प्रावधान कि हिंदुस्तान का जो सत्ता है वो सत्ता किसी धार्मिक रंग का नहीं होना चाहिए। ये वो सही नहीं है जो ये लोग कर रहे हैं।
मस्जिद हमारी शहीद कर दी और उस जगह मंदिर बनाया जा रहा है। अल्लाह से दुआ करेंगे बस इस बात की कि अल्लाह ताला के इस बाबरी मस्जिद जो हमसे छीन ली गई है वो हमें वापस दे दी जाए।
और ये भागने वाले लोग आज हमें योगदान के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं। आपका योगदान क्या बताइए? आप भगोड़े हैं इस हिंदुत्व के मैदान से, मैदान के आप भगोड़े हैं।
There's no question of a boycott. There's no question of a boycott. Whether they can, what they will be doing on the 22nd, I don't know. But they've been invited. We respect the invitation.
ये वही जो राम रचि राखा, तो जो हरी इच्छा न्योता सबको गया है, लेकिन पहुंचेंगे वही जो राम चाहेंगे।
Okay, to take a deeper dive into this story, let's open our show by first taking a look at different statements that have come in from different factions. We're just focusing on the I&DIA alliance. So right up top, first you have top Congress leaders that are invited for the Mandir ceremony. Now, the Congress says it will take a call. So as we speak, at this moment, we don't have a firm word from them. This afternoon, we had an interview with Jairam Ramesh, the press in charge. He repeated that they would take a call. No definitive no or yes. Let's look at one of the other alliance members, CPM, saying that the Mandir ceremony is for political gain in their statement. The Congress says the CPM is entitled to their own stand. Let's move on. You have another participant here, the Samajwadi Party. An MP, Bark, says that restore the Babri Masjid. Now, that was part of a longer quote that he made. No response from the Congress on that particular comment. You have the CPI MP, D. Raja. He calls it a state-sponsored campaign. And you also have, and you can see that on the top of your screens right now. And contrasting with that, you have Kamal Nath, the leader who ran for Chief Minister in Madhya Pradesh right now, led the Congress's very saffron campaign, as we talked about a little while earlier. He said that Rajiv Gandhi started the Mandir drive in 1985. Okay, moving on. Let's take you down south. Udyanidhi Stalin claiming that Sanatana is a dengue and a malaria. Remember, this is the comment that kicked off a controversy a few months ago. The Congress saying we don't agree with the DMK. Why do we bring that up for you? Because there is some history here. Different comments. Alliance partners not seeing eye to eye on those comments. Let's now take you to the debate topic. Let's get to our big debate question. Is the political fight around the Ram Mandir widening the chasm in the opposition or not?
Hello, Moto.
Okay, let's take a look at our guests for today. We have Tuhin Sinha, he's a spokesperson of the BJP. We have Lokesh Jindal, a political analyst. We have Dr. Balchandra Kangu, a National Secretariat member of the Communist Party of India. And we have Shekhar Iyer, a senior journalist. Good evening, gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here on the show tonight. Okay, I'm going to actually take our first question to Dr. Balchandra Kangu. Before we go ahead, gentlemen, I'd like to tell you, we're going to come over to each of you. We're going to try to get quick summaries of your viewpoints. Then we'll take a deeper dive because I want to make sure everyone has a chance to speak. Let's go over first to Dr. Balchandra Kangu for his perspective on all of the developments today. Doctor, I just want to understand from you. The CPIM statement is not surprising at all, of course, for the average media viewer. We know that this is what the CPIM believes, and they've made several statements hinting at this in the past too. But Doctor, I do want to ask you, the INDIA alliance knew that a complex issue like this, where different parties had different views, this could be played out for controversy. I do want to understand from you, sir, when the INDIA met just a few days ago, did this topic come up? Did the alliance discuss how to approach it?
I could not hear you properly, but I would like to reply from what I heard.
Okay.
See, you are more focusing on the differences of India alliance, but the parties are different. And all the parties have their own ideologies. So the differences are bound to be there. But on one point they are together. And what is that? The economy under Modi government is not doing well. And at the same time, the constitutional values like secularism, democracy, human freedom, everything are being compromised. And hence, it is necessary in the interest of the Indian people that this government should go. So therefore, India alliance may have differences, but they have some commonalities also. Therefore, one has to see. As far as the left is concerned, the issue of Ram Mandir and Babri Masjid has always been an issue of politics mixing with religion. Left is always against that. Left is for a secularism where the state does not have any religion. And state should not have any religion. That is what our contention was. And therefore, we had always opposed the movement started for politicalization of this Ram Mandir Babri Masjid issue. Let me tell you one thing, that National Integration Council was assured by Mr. No one else but Lal Krishna Advani that Babri Masjid structure will not be harmed. But on 6 December 1992, we have seen what happened. The structure was demolished and in the daylight, and not a single person has been punished so far. So that is an affront to the secular credentials of the country. And therefore, I believe that this movement is a very important movement for us. This Ram Mandir Babri Masjid issue has been an issue to make India a non-secular country and to make it as a cultural nationalism which was not there during the Indian national movement, which we had always opposed. It was the Muslim League which wanted to bring the cultural nationalism, and therefore they had Pakistan. But it was opposed by all the Indians basically who were leading the national movement that time. And therefore we believe strongly that this approach of the BJP government and RSS Vishwa Hindu Parishad to communalize the whole issue and to create a problem for Indian polity and Indian politics is a dangerous strain, and in future that has a lot of problems for us.
Okay. All right. Doctor, just stay with us. I'm going to go over to each of our panelists to get their first initial views. Then I'll come back to you with more questions. Let's go over to the spokesperson from the BJP who's with us. Mr. Sinha is with us tonight. Tuhin, I just want to ask you, part of what Sir said resonated right now with an earlier statement we heard from Jairam Ramesh in the afternoon. Jairam Ramesh essentially said, look, there is strength in diversity. We are not saying we agree on different things. We only agree on our political imperative. We differ in many ways. I just want to ask you, Tuhin, what does the BJP make of that perspective, that approach? And I want to ask you, because this is the other counterpoint that we've heard some opposition leaders say, that look, the NDA has had differing ideas many times. Take, for example, the farm laws, where you had certain Punjabi parties that didn't agree with the BJP's approach. Isn't that one example of different approaches existing in an alliance?
Well, good evening, Toya. Good evening, everybody. You know, this is a historic occasion, not only for India, but for the entire world, where after 495 years after a temple was brutally, assaulted by Babur, it has been resurrected through a process of law. And, I think it has only strengthened India's secularism, because till the time you accept historical blunders, till the time you accept historical injustice, there is no closure. Why do we run away from historical, facts? Why do we run away? Why do we brush under the carpet that 40,000 temples in this country had been destroyed by, acts of savagery by certain Mughal rulers? Till the time you accept that, till the time you accept the fact that people had been, converted through an act of force, I don't think there will be closure. And till the time there is closure, there will be problems. That's point number one. Point number two, I want to remind the Congress party that it was Rajiv Gandhi who had allowed Shilanyas way back in November 1989. In fact, he started his 1989 election campaign on 3rd of November 1989 from Ayodhya. It is only 1998 onwards that, Ram Bhakts became Rom Bhakts, and unfortunately, they could never take a stand on Ayodhya. On the contrary, through their lawyer, Kapil Sibal, who was then a part of the Congress party, they tried their best to stall a judgment in the case for the longest period of time possible.
Okay.
So, today, I think the Congress party is filled with remorse. Today, they are filled with guilt, because they have, they know that they have committed a historical blunder by not accepting the fact that the temple was destroyed. And they don't know how to react. That explains why Indie Alliance has been talking in differing voices. Hinduism is a way of life. This is something the Supreme Court has very clearly said in one of its 1995 judgment. And Ram is for everybody. Anybody, who turns down the invitation has a problem with Ram Rajya, which is the most eternal concept of social justice, which is the most eternal concept of a social welfare state.
So let me just ask you, Mr. Sinha, because I want to quickly summarize what you've said before we move on to the other two panelists that we have with us. You're essentially arguing, of course, yes, there are different voices coming out from the INDIA, but you're saying that the Congress in particular is operating from a place of guilt, if I am correct. Let's keep that there, sir. Let me just go over to the two other panelists we have with us. Shekhar Iyer, a senior journalist, is with us. Sir, I want to ask you, all of today's developments, part of the reason they were interesting was because we've seen a similar version of this play out earlier with the comments and the controversy around Sanatan Dharma. A set of comments you first had a leader in the South make in Tamil Nadu, and then right after that you had different leaders from the Congress, for example, who contradicted it and said we don't agree with it, we don't see eye to eye. Did you see what played out today as another chapter of that, or when the INDIA alliance says, again, that look, we can have an alliance with different views, we are united in the political sense? Do you see that as enough? Do you think it might connect with the Indian public? That's my key question here. For 2024 elections, do you think that plank will connect?
Toya, see, the problem of the Congress is different from what the communists face. See, for the communists, the Ram Temple did not matter and won't matter, because for their constituency, it doesn't matter whether they attend or don't attend. And besides, they have been considering religion as the opium of the masses, quote unquote. So therefore, I don't think for the communists it matters. But for the Congress, it is not remorse. It is actually fear. The fear is that they cannot do what the communists can do. Though some leaders may wish they do what the communists have done. Openly said, look, thanks for the invite, we won't go there. Basically, communists are saying it doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter to their constituency, because the communists don't have electoral base anywhere in the country excepting in pockets of Bihar and in Kerala. And even in Bengal, it has dwindled to a great extent. And that they are in alliance with the Congress there. So it's only the problem for the Congress. Congress problem is to go or not to go. Because if they don't go, then what will happen is, then they'll be seen as, not celebrating something that the Hindus have long waited for, and on the basis of a Supreme Court judgment. See, with the Supreme Court judgment, Congress took the position that we welcome the judgment and that it's a full stop to all that has happened before. But subsequently, the problem is, like for instance, Sonia Gandhi. The Sonia Gandhi has been, if you notice, she has never been to any temple since she used to go to temples with her husband, former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Since then, she has never made any Chunavi trips. She has never been to temples. Well, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka have done. So Sonia herself is not keen. She has been several times to Varanasi, but she has never made it to Vishwanath Mandir. That's as a matter of a personal belief. So that is different. But the Congress cannot ignore the invite. So it's possible the Congress will send somebody, but at the same time, it will appear half-hearted because they are and they are also today, they have benefited from a consolidation of minority votes in Karnataka and Telangana. And they would like that to continue. So they would like to appear as if they are going gaga over the Ram temple. So that is something they will avoid, yet they will have a token presence. That's what I feel.
That's what you're predicting. Okay, sir, we'll come back to you in just a second. Let's go over to Lokesh Jindal. He's a political analyst who's with us. Lokesh, I want to take to you the same question I just asked the other guest, Dr. Ayar. I want to ask you, and I want us to focus right now not just on the Congress, but on the entire alliance. This idea, this approach that the alliance has, that we are together on our political beliefs, on our political goal, but we differ in other areas. Do you think that kind of nuance in a political approach can connect with the Indian public in 2024, that kind of nuanced messaging?
Well, good evening, everybody. Look, when I'm talking about India, we have various regions, various states which have different majority population. We have Muslims in majority in Jammu Kashmir. We have Sikh having a majority in Punjab. We have Christians having majority in Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram. So can we afford a union or a central or an idea of India based upon one particular religion? When I'm talking about Ram temple, okay, it's fine. I'm a Hindu myself. We are all proud of our religion. So the temple getting established as a matter of faith is fine. But when state gets associated with this identity, when the idea of India tends to have a saffronized color, a Hindu religion, now tell me, on what basis do you extend your sovereignty over those regions which are not having majority Hindu population? Over here, India tends to take an authoritarian position, which is dangerous for the idea of India. The reason why we opted for a secular idea of India was the necessity. We have a multicultural society. We have a larger section of non-Hindu population. And if we are to extend our sovereignty, it's important that the idea must accommodate them. So in this Ram temple issue, if the manner in which the state is getting involved, the state is symbolizing it, the state is contesting the elections, and the entire government is identifying itself with the religion, sets a dangerous precedent.
Okay.
It's very important to understand that Congress has never been against Hindu religion. But Congress has been against Hinduization of Indian politics, Hinduization of government, Hinduization of idea of India.
Mr. Jindal, I do want to, one second, I do want to ask you though, there is the easy contradiction to bring up there, right? For example, the Madhya Pradesh campaign that Kamal Nath ran, I can bring up enough examples where it seems as if there is this, I'll tell you, the exact word we use in newsrooms when we're talking about this is soft Hindutva, that it seems as if the party is leaning into it conveniently when they need to. To that, what do you have to say?
Well, if the religion is used as a force of social cohesion, bringing people together, that's fine. But the nature of Hindu religion that BJP portrays, it is against Islam. So the narrative that is put forth by the BJP happens to be against one particular religion. It tends to put one religion in a scapegoat manner, as though everything that bad happened because of this religion, and a religion becomes a scapegoat to show your assertion. That is dangerous. When a particular religious institution is used to bring about people together, to bring about a cohesive unitary mechanism, it's fine. It's not a problem at all.
Okay, Mr. Jindal, one second. I do want to come to you for a quick sound bite on one question, and then I do want to go back to our other reporters, our other journalists who are also with us, and the political colleagues we have. Shekhar Ayar had just made this point, and I just want to take it to you. He painted a very interesting picture when it comes to the possible position the Congress is going to be in just a few days from now. To go or not to go, almost the eternal question for the Congress. What do you think is going to happen? Because we can see both sides. We know what could happen if they do go. We know what could happen if they don't go. How do you see the Congress playing this?
Well, the Congress will have to do a balancing act. Over here, the Congress has to be very cautious that it stands forth for the idea of India that it has preserved since independence. So it would be criticizing, it will be downplaying any form of states' identification with a particular religion. However, Congress should not alienate itself as anti-religious, anti-Hindu political party and would be giving some form of a participation, acceptance, as well as some recognition to this important event that is happening. So I would say that there has to be more of a social aspect considered by the political party rather than giving it more of a political importance.
Okay, all right. Let me just keep you with us. Let's go over to Dr. Kangu again. Dr. Kangu, I just want to ask you, we were talking right now of Madhya Pradesh leader Kamal Nath. He had made a statement very recently where he said Rajiv Gandhi started the Mandir drive in 1985, and it's similar to some statements we've seen before. I just want to ask you, sir, because I respect the point you were making earlier, where you were saying we are different parties with different ideologies, and we respect that in our alliance. But I do want to ask you, sir, when the Congress makes statements like that, when other parties, the Aam Aadmi Party, for instance, has been very warm towards the Ram Mandir, behind the scenes, is there any sense of we need to seemingly seem as if we are on the same page? Because we've seen how some of these controversies have played out and the spot they've seemingly put some of the opposition parties in.
See, I will make myself very clear. I always said that all parties in the India alliance have their different ideologies, different philosophies and different approaches. So I will not be surprised if Congress has a different approach in Madhya Pradesh and in North India, where they have to get votes, where they are in the competition. And therefore, the Congress is already appeasement politics. Shah Banu case is a well-known case, where the Congress capitalized before the minorities' aggressiveness and passed a verdict which was against the women, and we opposed it. So Congress culture of appeasement is very clear. But that doesn't mean that Congress is not for secularism or multicultural society.
Correct.
The problem is that with Congress is that when Congress comes to power, no particular community or no particular religion is supported by the administration. With BJP, that is not the fact. You see the laws that are passed, the lynching laws, the killing of cow laws, the selling of meat and other things, they are passed. The law against hijab, they are passed. So all the laws are there to help police to attack minorities. That kind of politics Congress doesn't play. So let us be very clear that there is a difference between Congress and BJP. But that doesn't mean that Congress does not follow a policy of appeasement. It does. But at the same time, the economic policy and the multicultural policies of Congress are something which are very near to the basic principles of the Constitution. And therefore, India Alliance stands for that values of Constitution, of secularism, democracy and socialism. For these, we stand in India Alliance.
But so Doctor, what I'm trying to understand from you though is that when it comes to voting in 2024, is there at all a fear that voters will sense a kind of hypocrisy in the fact that there are so many views represented in an alliance that are contradicting in many different areas? All right, we need to pause for a second. We need to move very quickly. Breaking news we've got coming in that we need to take a look at. Okay, the Delhi police is saying that at 5:47, the fire brigade received a call about a blast outside the Israeli embassy. A fire engine was sent to the spot, but it didn't find anything like that. Now, the fire brigade office said that no further information of the blast has been received yet. Currently, fire and other security agencies, as we speak, are investigating this entire incident. So a bomb scare taking place outside the Israeli embassy. Let's go over to my colleague Anvit to receive more information on this. Anvit, first bring us the details, please.
A call was received by Delhi police and the call was made around 5:43 p.m. The caller said that there has been a blast near the Israel embassy area, which falls in the New Delhi district. Now, the police rushed their teams and in fact, Delhi Fire Services was also alerted because it was call of the blast. And the teams that were rushed to the spot did not find anything suspicious. In fact, we spoke to the Director of Fire Services. He also said that nothing suspicious have been found on ground. In fact, senior officials of the Delhi police have also confirmed that so far, nothing suspicious have been found. Their teams are still on the ground and the entire area around the embassy is being searched. Also, police are making efforts to track down the caller who had alerted the police about the call, the blast. And it could be possible that if it is confirmed in another half an hour or 1 hour when the searches are over, that the police might also come out to say that it was a call that was made mischievously. But so far, police is maintaining that nothing suspicious have been found, but searches are on. At the same time, Delhi Fire Services has confirmed that nothing suspicious have been found in which they could be involved.
Okay, so Anvit, let me just confirm, you're telling our audiences that it is possible that this may be a hoax call, but it's too early to confirm that for our audiences. The inspections as we speak are on. Anvit, tell us, because we have footage, live visuals coming in of these searches, but just tell us which teams are involved right now, and was the Israeli embassy, because it is 7:22 right now, this happened at 5:47 p.m., but it is one day after Christmas. Were there people inside the Israeli embassy? How crowded were the roads around it?
See, the initial information says that the sound did not come from inside the embassy, but it was in the nearby area. Police are saying that the caller had mentioned that there has been a loud sound in that area, and it is not specified. It was not specified that the sound came in from inside the embassy. So there was no suspicion of blast from within the embassy, because previously also we have seen in that area such similar incidents have happened in the past. But in this incident, police have clearly said that nothing suspicious has been found yet. It was a loud sound that was reported by one of the callers. Police are trying to get in touch with the caller and to exactly know what was the location of the sound that was reported to the police. But so far on ground, there has been no blast, is what the police is maintaining, is also what the Delhi Fire Services is also maintaining.
Okay, and Anvit, I just want to ask you one last question. You were talking about the fact that this was a call that was received by the fire department. When it comes to embassies in the area, are these the kind of calls they have received before? I just want to understand how worried those who are inspecting this are at this moment.
Yeah, see, there's a SOP, standard procedures that have been laid down, and whenever such a call is made, police is informed and the fire services are also informed, because in case it was a blast, then fire services will also take over the operations and they would douse the fire and take over the area. So, as per the protocol, Delhi Fire Services was also informed, and the police teams were also alerted. And police teams are still there. In fact, the Delhi Fire teams had also been rushed. The fire tenders had been rushed in case of emergency, but they have returned and they have not found anything suspicious. But important to mention that police teams are still there. They are still searching the area to find out if there are any traces that could be found. And also, police are making efforts to get in touch with the caller who had reported about the loud sound, because they would want to know what exactly was the location of that area where the loud sound was heard from, because see, it's the New Year's around the corner, and
Right.
it was yesterday it was Christmas. So police also want to know that this is a festive time, security is increased and security is beefed up during this time. 26th January is also coming over. So keeping all that in mind, police is keeping the security tight, and therefore no stone is being unturned. All the precautions are being taken, and that is one reason why police teams are still on the ground. They're still searching for any possible traces of anything suspicious that could be found on ground.
Okay, can I just ask you to stay with us, please, Anvit? Our colleague Anshul is also with us. Anshul, the basic details have been shared with us right now. What more context can you bring us? Before you do, Anshul, let me just tell our audiences, Chanakyapuri area is where the embassy is located. It's a diplomatic neighborhood in the center or close to the center of the national capital. Anshul, do go ahead. What more context can you bring us?
So yes, what we have been told at this point in time, that this initial call was made at approximately 5:30 p.m. when a few people actually heard the sound of a blast in a empty plot that is right behind the highly secured Israel embassy. What we have been told at this point in time, that since the sound was heard and the first PCR call was made, police teams have been on the spot. At this point in time, several teams of the Delhi police are actually looking to trace from where the sound had come, and are also trying to find the objects from which this sound might have come. But yes, thankfully at this point in time, nothing has been found by the Delhi police. Now the investigation is, and if at all there was a
Okay, we've actually lost that connection with my colleague. Obviously, this is a particularly important story, so we will return to it again and again as we get more details. Let's go back, though, to the panel discussion we were having right now. We're sorry to have taken you away from it. We wanted to bring you this slice of news. Let's go back, though. We were having a conversation, a debate. We're trying to understand the fight, the political fight that's been playing out over the last few months around the Ram Mandir inauguration, one that received a new breath of life almost today, where we saw a new spate of differing opinions and approaches in the INDIA alliance. Now, we're going to go back to the panelists we have with us right now. I want to go back to Tuhin Sinha from the BJP. Mr. Sinha, before we left and before we headed into this slice of information we wanted to bring our audiences, we heard from an analyst and we also heard from Dr. Kangu, who's with us right now from the CPIM. I just want to ask you, Tuhin, the INDIA alliance asserting again and again that they are aware of the fact that they have these differences, but that they don't think this is going to hinder their chances. The analyst who was with us a few minutes ago, Lokesh Jindal, pointing out that, look, the fact that we've performed so well in the south actually shows that our approach is resonating with the public. It may just not be the northern public in the northern plains. What does the BJP have to say to that, Tuhin?
Well, the Congress representative very clearly said that the party needs to do a balancing act. Now, the balancing act had become so contrived that it was actually brazen hypocrisy. You know, what was the balancing act? It used to be like Rajiv Gandhi would oppose the Shah Bano case, the Supreme Court verdict in the Shah Bano case, and then suddenly, to make up for that, he would, allow Shilanyas while not believing in either. So, monkey balancing cannot be your ideology, which unfortunately is what the ideology of Congress party today is. Now, they can't be giving us sermons on secularism. India is intrinsically secular. It has been the most assimilative society, whether it is Parsis, whether it is Christians, all of them have been absorbed in the Indian society seamlessly. But yes, there was a period of 300 to 400 years when our people had to go through a lot of brutality. I think, this is the time to put that to a closure. And I think that makes the occasion of Ram Mandir extremely important. I think, people who are trying to once again put up a balancing act should be more cautious this time, because the people are more evolved now. Voters are more evolved. They know that fake secularism will not be tolerated in the country anymore. In 1951, Nehru had stopped the then president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, from going for the inauguration of the rebuilt Somnath temple. Such a thing would not be appreciated anymore. So the Congress needs to take a firm stand. The old cliched balancing act doesn't work anymore, unless, the party is prepared to be further decimated.
Okay, let's go back. We've heard from all our panelists right now, but I want to go back to Lokesh Jindal, since Tuhin, your point was directed at him. Lokesh, just to quickly summarize, the key point Tuhin Sinha was making right now was, yes, you can do balancing acts as much as you like, but your audiences, the people who are watching and voting, they'll understand when it's a real balancing act and when it's not. He's essentially saying that what we've seen from the Congress so far, where, for example, in one election-bound state like Madhya Pradesh, you're seeing multiple overtures made towards the Hindu communities. Those things don't ultimately work because your public will be able to sense that. Can you tell us, Lokesh, what do you have to say about that? And Lokesh, I do want to ask you one more question here. When we were speaking earlier to the representative from the CPIM, we asked him this. When the INDA had their meeting, was there any kind of decision on a common approach? Today, we've seen different answers coming from different political parties. Is that the plan going forward? Is that how the INDI will be approaching this? I just want to understand, anytime issues like this come along, will we see differing opinions? And is that just going to be what we see?
It's very important for us to understand that the culture of the Congress has been that of consensus building. So it's not always some form of a imposition of ideology from above. There is always a dialogue and consensus building that becomes the bedrock of Congress ideology, and that is why it's an ideology which is not monolithic and rigid, but it keeps evolving over a period of time. It's an organic ideology rather than some form of a rigid, dogmatic, I would say, indoctrination.
Sorry, Lokesh, I'm not cutting you off. I'll give you a chance to speak. I just want to ask you, but don't you think that approach gives ammunition to the opposition, for example, the BJP in this case? Or do you think that that ammunition is made up? Do you think this is, for example, the media's way of looking at it and the public will understand?
Well, Toya, we have a public today which is educated, which is quite enlightened, and which does not get carried away by the narrative put forth by ruling dispensation. If you're talking about Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, tell me, did Congress lose its vote share? No. In Rajasthan, rather, the vote share of Congress increased. And Madhya Pradesh, it retained its voter share. I would say that there are certain aspects on poll management that the party needs to do with, and it will come out strongly. The manner in which BJP has been celebrating its electoral victory, it is good for them, but it must take into account that still we have 40% of the overall voters voting for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Even in Chhattisgarh, the core voters, they remained intact. So Congress is a political ideology, and every Indian over a period of time understands economic issues well, understands the significance of economic issues, and once the party reaches out to them, the people will vote for a change. And Toya, I'm a firm believer that the ideology of the Congress is its strength. And it is on this ideological framework that we will have all political parties from various regions coming together, entering into a dialogue, discussion, consensus, and arriving at a common agreed goal, which lacks in BJP. Now look at the track record of BJP. Every alliance partner it came up with has distanced itself from BJP. It doesn't have Shiromani Akali Dal anymore. Even the Shiv Sena distanced itself. We do not have JDU siding with the BJP. So BJP has had a track record of not being friendly to its friends.
Mr. Jindal, let me just stop you for a second. I loved that last line you said, because it's going to raise more questions when you said that they don't have a culture of being friends with their friends, friendly with their friends. Let's go over to Mr. Iyer for last comments here. Shekhar Iyer, if you could tell us, you've heard this entire conversation, and I'm coming to you last because you're a senior journalist. I'm hoping we can bring finally some objectivity into this conversation. Mr. Iyer, this approach that the INDIA alliance members are adopting, where they're saying we have a mature democracy, people will understand that we have different approaches. Do you think that will resonate, or do you think the optics of this, the fact that we're so frequently seeing diagonally contradicting opinions, that could play out and perhaps beat the INDIA in their own game?
Toya, as a matter of fact, on December 19, when the alliance met, they did discuss the impact of the Ram Temple. Both Mr. Yechury as well as Mr. Stalin both wanted that there should be some kind of a counter campaign to see that the BJP does not benefit from this. But the problem is, see, it is a Congress problem. The alliance parties don't face the kind of problem that Congress will face on account of the Ram Temple. So the kind of just now we heard Mr. Jindal coming up with an ideological position of the Congress. But the average Congress worker, he cannot understand this. All he knows is that this is a moment the Congress should not be seen as being against it or little indifferent to it. Rather, the average Congress worker, average Congress leader in Uttar Pradesh particularly, would want the Congress leadership to welcome this movement and see that the BJP doesn't get the full, advantage. If the Congress were to, play down, or Congress were to make a token presence, obviously you will see that, because you see the most surprising that has happened is that these leaders got an invite. They were hoping there would not be invite, and the opposition would have said, look, Prime Minister Modi and BJP has hogged the show. But that has not happened. The invite has created a problem.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you. I'd like to thank all of our panelists for bringing us this context on the question we were asking, whether or not the Ram Mandir and the politics around it has widened the chasm in the INDIA alliance. Now, we're heading into a short break. But on the other side, we're taking a look at an entirely different story, a particularly important one playing out down south in the state of Karnataka that is seeing the worst ever drought it has ever seen in its history. We're going to take a look at that and whether or not the political reactions are stalling farmers from getting the aid they need. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Hello, Moto.
Co-powered by
एकदम स्ट्रेट
हे लोक आहेत ना, हे लोक हे पण होते, हॉटेलमध्ये जेवत होते. आम्ही फोटो काढायला गेला तर पळून गेलेलं आहे. मला ते नाही मेन तर मी हे सर्व एकत्र आले ना आपण पळायला गेलो. याचा आता बघ झगडा काय भांडत होता. हा एक होता, हा फोटोच आहे माझे असलेला. हा का हे बघ, हे आहेत ना, हे पंजाबी लोक, पंजाबी है पगड़ी बोला था वो फोटो में है ना, उसके पगड़ी पहना है. अरे हा पण त्याच्याबरोबरच आहे. हा बघ आहे. आता बाकीच्या लोकांना शोधायला लागेल, खालून जायचं ना. आपण वर आलो ना, गेला खालून.
Welcome back. You're watching Hard Facts with me, Toya Singh. We're now going to take you to an entirely different story. As we speak, the state of Karnataka is seeing the worst drought that it has ever seen. The current year's losses alone have been pegged by the Karnataka government at 35,000 crore rupees, as more than 90% of the region has been affected by drought. This is if you crunch the numbers given by the Karnataka government. Now, millions of farmers across the state have been left devastated. Two failed monsoons mean no rain, low dam levels and no fodder for cattle. The Congress has been in power since June this year. It argues that it is the central government that is not giving the much needed 18,000 crores that it is asking for in aid. It's saying it's asked for it time and time again, and indeed the Chief Minister did visit the capital to ask for exactly this. Now the union government for its part says it needs to follow due process. It's going to make this decision. It also says though that in the meantime, callous comments from a state minister in Karnataka need to be questioned. Remember, a state minister in Karnataka, in fact the minister for sugarcane, said that farmers wish for drought to get loans waived. Now that has obviously caused even more controversy. Karnataka is a state that has faced drought conditions for 16 out of the 23 years that have passed since 2001. Let me just say that again, 16 out of the 23 years that have passed since 2001. So tonight we ask, is it time for a long-term plan in Karnataka to prevent this annual problem? And just who is failing our farmers?
To the farmers, we are committed to the development of farmers. Government is committed. We have just mistaken its word.
Okay, to understand more on this entire story, we have with us representatives from the BJP and the Congress. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda, a spokesperson for the Karnataka BJP. Remember, the Karnataka BJP was in power in the state till earlier this year. You have, we also have the spokesperson from the Congress, Satya Prakash, who's with us to bring us context on the Congress's perspective. I'd like to tell both of you, we're going to come over to both of you with initial questions, then we'll take a deeper dive into this story. Okay, my first question to the spokesperson from the Congress who's with us right now, Satya Prakash. Sir, I do want to ask you, and we're going to take a deeper dive into whose responsibility this is, who's not giving funds to who. We'll take that deeper dive, I promise you. But I need to ask you this initial question, sir. Your sugarcane development minister, Shivanand Patil, said, and I'm going to give the audiences the full context because he said his comments were taken out of context. He said that several chief ministers have given free seeds and manure. The farmers have only one wish on their mind. There should be a drought year after year so that their loans get waived. Sir, by any measure, that's an insensitive remark. Now, I know the Congress, some leaders have come out, they've said that yes, this is an insensitive remark, but broadly we haven't seen any kind of strong action taken against a minister whose portfolio is related to agriculture. So why is that?
Toyaji, at the outset, I would like to apologize for the remark that the minister has made. It's an insensitive remark he should not have made. We are looking at the farmers, where nearly 192 taluks are suffering from drought. Okay. I know Shivanandji is a farmer himself. I think what would have happened is the slang that he used in Uttar Karnataka is different. Being a farmer himself, he would have empathized with the farmers that the state of farmers is such in Karnataka today. Even after 192 taluks have been under severe drought, the farmers are suffering. And we have been continuously asking for funds from the central government. Not even a single rupee has been released by this Modi government.
Mr. Prakash, I promise you I'm going to go to the BJP with that question. We're going to hold them accountable.
What?
Sir, I promise you of that. No, but I do want to ask you first, sir, why are we not seeing your Chief Minister or D.K. Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister, make stronger statements about the sugarcane minister for saying this? Because you're agreeing it is insensitive, but why are we not seeing a stronger statement here?
No, see, the problem is the slang in Uttar Kannada is different. Normally, the language what they speak, they empathize with the farmers as if, but they'll be little harsher on them. What this sugarcane ministry is saying is, today the condition of the farmer is such that instead of, getting a good crop and getting a fair price and getting the right price for his produce. Today, most of the farmers have reached such a stage, as you rightly said when you were starting. 16 years out of the 23 years, last 22 years, Karnataka is facing severe drought. So people have got used to that. Now they are also asking, whenever a minister goes, and especially he is a minister for sugarcane, and his belt is sugarcane belt. The farmers are not getting proper price for the sugarcane also. So in that slang, he would have said, it has become so routine that you want a drought to get some benefit from us, like loan waiver and all. But we are not in a position to give those loan waivers because we are not getting any assistance from the center. That would have been his point of view.
So, okay.
But it is an insensitive remark. People at the higher echelons of the government, especially the ministers, should be very careful while giving such statements, is all what I can say to it.
Okay, so you're essentially saying it was sarcasm and therefore there is not going to be more strong action that we're seeing. Yeah. Let me go over very quickly.
It is a slang in that area,
Right.
They speak like that to that.
Let me go over to the BJP right now. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda from the BJP is with us. Ma'am, thank you for joining us this evening on CNN News 18. Ma'am, the point that the Congress is making, 18,000 crores they've asked for. We started our debate by putting forward for our audiences the number that is needed right now. It's a very big number. 35,000 crores is the loss that the state has seen. They're asking for 18,000 crores. Ma'am, we have a team of researchers and reporters right here on the show. We were trying to understand, because we know the BJP, the centre, sent a team to the ground in Karnataka to look at the whole situation. We also know the Home Minister was set over the weekend to have a meeting where they assess this question. Can they give 18,000 crore rupees to Karnataka? What happened with that, ma'am?
Thank you for having me here, Toya. First, I would like to tell for the remarks made by the Congress spokesperson that the person might have used in a different context and out of the slang. The person must be so much disoriented. The altered sensorium, it's a medical terminology that can be correctly used for the sugar minister. It is the height of the political intoxication. It is the height of the political intransigence that a sugar minister time and again showing anti-farmer stance and time and again making the anti-farmer statements. It is highly condemnable. The fiasco of the ruling dispensation, the Congress dispensation, is this: for having failed to sack the minister for the very remarks he has made about the farmers, which are the backbone of the entire nation. Much to the woes of the farmers, they have stopped implementing Pradhan Mantri Krishi Samman Yojana, which would otherwise been benefited by the farmers, and they've also stopped implementing Vidyanidhi Yojana, and they are failed in implementing many pro-farmer schemes which have been initiated by the central government, central BJP dispensation. Shri Narendra Modi led BJP dispensation has come up with many pro-farmers programs like Pradhan Mantri Krishi Samman Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana.
Okay, ma'am, let me just, one second. I'm not cutting you off. We'll keep coming back to you, but I do want to ask you, because I want to summarize quickly and then I want to go over to the Congress. Are you essentially saying there is money available, but the Congress is not using that money? If I had to really break it down into layman terms. Okay, let's go.
Money is the DC account. They are not using the same money for giving to the farmers.
Let's go over to the Congress, ma'am.
Then in the DC account. Rather, they're diverting the same money for some other purposes.
Let me go to the Congress, ma'am. Let me ask them. I want this to be a two-way discussion. Satyaprakash ji, there's money lying in the account that the Congress party is not using?
I want to ask Lakshmi ji, under what account has Mr. Modi sent? Ask her to tell it. ये महीने में ये अकाउंट में हम लोग ने भेजा और आप लोगों ने यूज नहीं कर रहे. There's not a single paisa that. One second, Lakshmi ji, please.
Idle in the DC account.
Please.
And they're failed to utilize
under
the same
NDRF,
money
you need to understand, Lakshmi ji, that this is a disaster. Whenever droughts happen, whenever floods happen, these are disasters. During disasters,
which is lying idle in the DC account.
Lakshmi ji, please listen to me. Please listen to me. You have put your point. Please listen to me. This is a disaster when 190 taluks are under drought. Not one or two, 190 taluks. That means nearly 90% of the taluks in the entire state 91%. Is under severe drought. And we have sent 25 MPs for the BJP. What are the MPs doing? Is Karnataka part of India? Is this cooperative federalism that Modi was talking when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat? When he used to ask Gujarat ko fund hi nahi aa raha hai? What is Modi doing? Doesn't he have a responsibility towards farmers of Karnataka? Forget about the minister. We will take care of the minister. He is wrong in using such derogatory language on the farmers.
Right.
We will reprimand him. But what is Mr. Modi doing? Has he given one single paisa for the last 2-3 months?
Okay, let me go back to Lakshmi Gowda for a second. Ms. Gowda, I want to ask you very succinctly, please, before you reply to the Congress, tell me what happened to the meeting the Home Minister was set to hold over the weekend to address the 18,000 crore question. What happened there? What's the progress there? Please give us a sound bite here so we know.
See, since they already sent a team, a scientific team to the Karnataka to study about the drought situation, it is in the process. They will release the money eventually.
I'm sorry, we lost what you said.
Can the Congress government, which is the power in the state, what it has done for the betterment of the farmers, rather than doing all this appeasement politics and making controversial statements about the farmers, what did they do ever since they came to power?
Okay,
but ma'am, already
ma'am, let me get a quick answer from you though, ma'am. Please, this 18,000 crore rupees is the BJP, is the centre. What is their plan there? I'm not asking when are they going to give that amount. I'm asking is there a plan there? Right, but ma'am, you have farmer suicides taking place in the state. This is a problem that's existed since July. This is the second monsoon to fail in the state. This is not a new problem. The BJP knew this was coming. When you're saying this is going to be solved, what's the timeline here?
Had they implemented the programs initiated for the purpose of the farmers correctly, it wouldn't have been the situation.
Okay.
They have failed to implement the schemes. They failed to implement the schemes. This is the issue.
Let's go over Mr. Prakash. Mr. Prakash, I want to very quickly ask you last comments here. Mr. Prakash, what's the long-term plan here? This is a problem that's taking place every year in Karnataka. I know your government has just come into power. It's been 6 months, but what's the long-term plan to combat this?
See, the Siddaramaiah government has already released 2,000 rupees per hectare as an ad hoc measure.
Right.
We have already released, and every farmer will start getting it in the 1 second. They will start getting in the next few days. But what we are asking is, please release the disaster fund, National Disaster Fund. Drought is a disaster. Please release it, so that we also will add some money from our side.
Okay, but sir, experts say more can be done. Experts say more can be done to mitigate drought. We're talking about changes in agricultural patterns, etc. Is that something that Karnataka is looking into as we speak?
See, we are asking Nirmala Sitharam to release the Upper Krishna money that she has promised us. We are asked for funds for Mekedatu project, give all the necessary permissions required to start that project. We have even asked to give some funds for Upper Bhadra project. In case of drought, these sort of irrigation facilities can go to the rescue of the Karnataka farmer. But not even 1 single rupee has been released for Upper Krishna till date. For 6 months we have been asking. Our irrigation minister has gone and met them. Recently you have seen for 3 days, we have gone there. Our chief minister has met the prime minister. Our deputy chief minister has met. All our ministers have met the finance minister. Not even a single rupee has met.
Sir, but you are telling me the Congress has done everything they can do right now.
No. Right now, within our constituents, we have given little. Ad hoc, we have given little. If they don't give, we will do something for the farmers. But isn't it the responsibility of the Modi government to the farmers of Karnataka? After they have given them 25 seats, should Karnataka give them 0 seats in 24 in the coming Lok Sabha election?
Okay.
Doesn't Modi have some responsibility towards people of Karnataka? When 190 is...
Sir, let me go back for last words now to Lakshmi Gowda right now. Ma'am, when we spoke to people on the ground, our reporters have been collecting bites too. This has been a question. The BJP says they stand for farmers across the country. They've made that a prime part of their agenda. 18,000 crores is what is being asked right now. We know that this is a state that suffers from farmer suicides apart from the drought that we're looking at. A timeline in this case, ma'am, that stretches out into the next 6 months is a scary proposition. Can you tell us what is the plan here?
Ma'am, we've always been farmers friendly. We have initiated so many farmer friendly programs and we have been implementing the program successfully. And Mr. Gentleman told, the Congress gentleman has told that they have promised 2,000 per hectare. It is such a minuscule amount if you calculate this per acre. It is like giving them, it is like farmers are asking for the begging alms and they're giving.
But they're going to say something is better than nothing is going to be there.
It is a disgrace to them. Rather than doing this, they should show their commitment, their courage of conviction to stand by the farmers rather than giving this cheap.
Okay.
Fees will amount to them.
Congress
As
gives
Right.
with
4
this
lakh crores.
Sarkar
Lakshmi ji
comes
Satyaji.
Contribute.
Lakshmi ji
Comes
Satyaji,
up-
thank you so much for joining
That-
us. We've run out of time. All right. I'd like to thank our panelists for joining us. This brings us to an end of Hard Facts. Thank you for staying with us over the last few minutes.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. In 2023, FPIs or the foreign portfolio investors have been gross buyers of shares worth 25.5 trillion rupees, the highest ever in a calendar year. FPIs have also sold shares worth 23.9 trillion. On a net basis, they were net buyers to the tune of 1.6 trillion rupees, the highest since 2020. Nearly 7,600 farmer producer organizations have been registered in India till November 30th this year, almost 75% of the government's target to